What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut, and today we're going to look at the Semyon Varlamov trade, which occurred back during the 2012 NHL draft. Now, if you look at the thumbnail, it is of Filip Forsberg. Forsberg is one of the big names in this trade, and I couldn't find a good picture of Varlamov, so I just thought, you know what, let's go with Forsberg. So, basically, during the 2012 draft, the Colorado Avalanche and the Washington Capitals agreed to a trade that would send restricted free agent goaltender Semyon Varlamov to the Colorado Avalanche in exchange for the 11th and 54th picks in the 2012 draft. Now, Varlamov was a restricted free agent, and he had recently seemingly lost out on the starting goaltender job in Washington to Michael Neuwirth. So, rather than just let him walk in free agency or re-sign him and pay him a lot of money to be a backup, Washington decided to trade him and get something for him. So how did this trade work out? We will start with the Colorado Avalanche, who got goaltender Semyon Varlamov, and Varlamov became the starter instantly. He would sign a 3-year deal, became the starter for the team. And he started off the season strong, but he slowed down as the team would slow down. He would go 26, 24, and 3 with a .913 save percentage in his first year in Colorado. Now, he would play in 8 shootouts that year, and he won all 8 of them, allowing only 2 quote-unquote goals in 24 attempts. He looked very impressive in the shootouts. Now, he had a rough 2012-13 season, as he would only go 11, 21, and 3 with a .903 save percentage and a 3.02 goals against average. Now, he would rebound well in the 2013-14 season, winning 41 games to 14 losses and 6 overtime shootout losses, with a .927 save percentage and a .241 goals against average. He would have a solid 2014-15 season. He didn't have a great record, though, as the Avalanche struggled, and he actually would have a .921 save percentage as well as a .256 goals against average. Now, he has a decent 2015-16 campaign where he had a .914 save percentage. Now, he has a brutal 2016-17 season for the team, as he would go 6-17 with an .898 save percentage and a .338 goals against average. Now, he was playing hurt, and a hip injury led to surgery, which obviously ended his season. He had a nice bounce back in the 2017-18 campaign, recording a .920 save percentage and a .268 goals against average. He didn't have a great record in the 2018-19 season, but he did have a .909 save percentage and a .287 goals against average. Now, he did walk after the 2018-19 campaign, but he did make one All-Star game for the Avalanche. Pretty impressive. However, they gave up a lot for him. What do I mean by that? Well, so in the 2012 draft, the Washington Capitals would use the 11th pick on left wing Filip Forsberg. So Forsberg would spend 1 year overseas, and then he would come over and sign his entry-level contract, and Washington would flip him very quickly. Now, this trade ends up leading into a lot of stuff here, so let me quickly get the 54th pick. So the 54th pick would be traded to Dallas, and that 54th pick was traded to Dallas alongside goaltender Cody Eakin in exchange for center Mike Ribeiro. Now, Mike Ribeiro for Dallas, for Washington, he would average just over a point per game, scoring 49 points in 48 games. For the Capitals, scoring 13 goals to 36 assists, and then he would walk as a free agent. So they got decent production out of him. So now, Filip Forsberg's trade. Forsberg gets shipped to Nashville in exchange for center Michael Latta and right wing Martin Erupt. So Michael Latta, he would spend 3 years bouncing between the AHL and the NHL, and he would mostly play fourth line minutes when he was in the NHL. Now, he would play in 113 games, not doing much, and then he walked. Now, right wing Martin Erupt is really where the fun begins. So, Martin Erupt, he doesn't do too much. He would spend 2 disappointing seasons in Washington, recording 2 goals over 61 games played before being traded. Now, he's traded to the Arizona Coyotes alongside another player in exchange for center Chris Brown, defenseman Rostislav Klesla, and a 2015 fourth-round pick. So that 2015 fourth-round pick becomes the 93rd, and it gets traded to Carolina. We will follow that shortly. So center Chris Brown. Chris Brown himself spent most of 2.5 years in the organization in the AHL before he gets traded straight up to the New York Rangers in exchange for center Ryan Bjork. Now Bjork, he would spend 2 years in the AHL helping the team make a Calder Cup before he would leave the organization. So defenseman Rostislav Klesla, he doesn't do much for the team. He gets traded literally 1 day after. He goes to the Buffalo Sabres alongside goaltender Michael Neuwirth, who, hey, we mentioned before, in exchange for goaltender Yaroslav Halak and a 2015 third-round pick. So goaltender Yaroslav Halak, he has a decent half season in Washington before he gets traded to the New York Islanders in exchange for a 2015 pick, or 2014 pick, 118th overall. Now the 118th pick in 2014 gets traded to the New York Rangers alongside another draft pick for the 89th pick. Now the 89th pick in the 2014 draft was used on left wing Nathan Walker. So Nathan Walker is noteworthy because he's the first Australian player drafted in the NHL draft, and he was the first one to play in the NHL. Other than that, a very minor career. He would only play in 7 games for the team, and then he was waived. So, sorry about the mess, but it's one of those trades where you got to follow one thing at a time. Now that 2015 third-round pick that Washington got from Buffalo turns into the 62nd pick, and it gets traded to the New York Rangers alongside the 113th pick for the 57th pick. And the 57th pick, Washington used on defenseman Jonas Siegenthaler. Now, Jonas Siegenthaler, he's been a decent second, third line defenseman since debuting towards the end of the 2018-19 season. So, not a bad pick. So back to this trade here, that 2015 fourth round pick, 93rd overall, was traded to Carolina, and it was traded alongside another player for defenseman Tim Gleason, who would appear in 17 games, recording 0 goals and 2 assists before leaving the team. So, all in all, Washington got a good amount of quality, making a lot of trades to make this whole thing happen. So how did the other teams involved do? We're going to start with the Dallas Stars. So remember, Dallas got the 54th pick in the 2012 draft. They would use that on center Mike Winther, and Mike Winther never came to the United States, never signed a contract, or if he did, he just stayed overseas. It's hard to find information on some of these guys. So he has since retired, and then center Cody Eakin himself, so he had a decent start to his Stars career, recording 7 goals to go with 17 assists in the lockout-shortened 2012-13 campaign, and after that, he became a solid third-line player, scoring 16, 19, and 16 goals over the next 3 seasons, respectively. Now, an injury would slow him down in 2016-17, and it really slowed him down. He would only score 3 goals. Now, that led to him being exposed during the expansion draft, and the Golden Knights would take him from Dallas. Next, we have the Nashville Predators, who got left wing Filip Forsberg. So, he had a very quiet couple of campaigns in the 2012-13 and then the 2013-14, where he played a combined 18 games. Now, he mostly was in the AHL during those 2 years, and he proved himself in the AHL pretty quickly. Now, he graduates full-time to the NHL in the 2014-15 campaign, and he rewards Nashville with a 26-goal, 37 assists, 108 hit season. Now, he would make the All-Star game. Now, in the playoffs that year, he would actually score 4 goals, which included a hat trick. The next year, 2015-16, he would score 33 goals. Now, this included a 4-day stretch in which he recorded 2 separate hat tricks. Unfortunately for him and the team, he kind of struggled when he got to the playoffs. Now, the 2016-17 campaign saw him score 31 goals, and he had hat tricks in back-to-back games. Now, you could tell right there he's a bit of a streaky player. He kind of showed up in the playoffs. He had 9 goals to 7 assists as Nashville would make it to the Stanley Cup where they would lose. Now, in the 17-18 campaign, he had 26 goals to 38 assists. He would regress slightly in the 2018-19 season. He regressed a little bit more in the 2019-20 season, and he has slightly rebounded through the 2021 season. He is a one-time All-Star for Nashville. Very good pickup for the Predators. Next, we have the Arizona Coyotes, who got a pair of wings, with right wing Martin Erat being the main one. Now, he spent 1.5 average seasons in Arizona before leaving the United States, going overseas, while left wing John Mitchell, Again, one of those guys that's difficult to find a lot about. He only played 2 years in the AHL for the organization before he would walk. Next, we have the Rangers, who made 3 separate trades. So center Chris Brown, he spent 1.5 years in the AHL before he would walk from the organization. The 2014 draft had them get 2 picks, and the 104th pick in 2014 was utilized on right wing Ryan Mantha, and Mantha actually did not sign with the team. The 118th pick in 2014 was more successful for them, as they would select goaltender Igor Shesterkin, and Shesterkin himself, he's been a solid backup since his debut during the 2019-2020 season. Then we get to 2015, where they had a pair of picks. The 62nd pick was utilized on right wing Robin Kovacs, and Kovacs spent 1 underwhelming season in the AHL before being waived. And when I say underwhelming, I mean underwhelming. It became clear that they didn't want him anymore. And then the 113th pick was utilized on center Brad Morrison, who did not sign with the team. So there's that. So then, while we're here, New York Islanders got goaltender Yaroslav Halak. So Halak was a solid part-time goaltender for the Islanders for 4 seasons. Now, he averaged a .913 save percentage and a 2.69 goals against average before he would walk. So we have 2 teams left. We'll go with the Carolina Hurricanes, who got the 2015 93rd overall selection. They would use that on goaltender Caleb Booth. And Caleb Booth has bounced around the ECHL and the AHL for 3 years before he left the team. They also got defenseman Jack Hillen. And Jack Hillen only appeared in 3 games before becoming a free agent, and then after no one was interested in him, he retired. The last team we have to discuss is the Buffalo Sabres, who got a pair of underwhelming players. So goaltender Michael Neuwirth, he was a solid player on paper. The problem was Buffalo wasn't good, so his 2 years were rough in Buffalo before he gets traded away. Lastly, we have defenseman Rostislav Klesla, and Klesla literally straight up just refused to report to the organization. He said, all right, I'm done. And then he kind of said, you know what, I'm just taking the rest of the year off. I'm going to look at it. He was dealing with a lot of injuries, so Buffalo ends up suspending him, and then he just ends up retiring from the NHL. So this was one of the longer trades. I definitely apologize for it being a little weird, but that was a Semyon Varlamov trade. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good rest of your day.